Okay, today we're looking at lesson 5-5 on page 132, equivalent fractions. So we're trying to find equal fractions. How can you find equivalent fractions? Alright, fractions that have different numerators and denominators, I'm right here, but name the same amount are called equivalent fractions. So although their numerator, top number, denominator, bottom number, may be different, it's possible that they are actually naming the same amount. Look at the picture over here with these fraction strips. So they point out that the fraction strip shows equivalent fractions. So for example, the first number they say is 2/3. So we're looking at these 2/3 here, 2 of the 3/3. So I'm trying to outline this. Now look to see what 2/3 is equal to. Well, 2/3 is equal to, right below it, sum of the 6. And how many 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So 2/3 is equal to 4/6, and just continue on down, which is equal to then 6/9, and also 18/12. So you can look at that and you can see that they are equal fractions. So 2/3, 4/6, 6/9, and 8/12 are equal fractions. Okay, on page 133, look over at with me at one way to find equivalent fractions. Okay, so one of the things you can do is multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the same non-zero number. So for example, they have the fraction 10/15. In order to find an equivalent fraction, all I have to do is multiply my numerator, 10 by 2, and this is just an example, and my denominator, 15 by 2. The important thing is that what you multiply by is exactly the same. 2 for my numerator and 2 on the denominator, because basically 2/2 is equal to 1. 3/3 would be equal to 1. So as long as you multiply by a fraction that equals 1, you're going to find an equivalent fraction, or a fraction that is names the same amount. So in this case, 10 times 2 is 20, and 15 times 2 is 30, so 10/15 is equivalent to 20/30. Oops, okay. So that's one way. One way is just to multiply both my numerator and my denominator by the same number. Okay, let's look at another way. Alright, another way is that you can divide the numerator and the denominator by the same non-zero number, if they can both be divided evenly. So you have to find a number that both the numerator and the denominator are divisible by. So in this case, we know 10 and 15 would be divisible by 5. So we divide 10 by 5 and get 2, and we divide 15 by 5 to get 3. So 10/15 is equal to 2/3. So basically we just reduced or simplified this fraction. Now remember, 5/5 is equal to 1. So if we divide by 5/5, 2/2, 3/3, 4/4, whatever it is, we're dividing by 1, and we are finding an equivalent fraction, a fraction that names the same amount. Okay, look at the guided practice on page 132 down there. I'm going to do a couple with you, and make sure you're taking notes here. And then I'm going to have you do probably the last 3 yourself. So let's look at number 1. I have 2/4. So I want to find a fraction that's equivalent to 2/4. So they help you out. Stick with the small number. Stick with 2. So multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 2. So 2 times 2 would give me 4, and 4 times 2 would then give me 8. So there is an equivalent fraction. I could also do the same. I could multiply 2 by 3. Oops, that's kind of messy. And I could multiply by 3 my denominator, and I could get 6/12 also. Would be another equivalent fraction. Or Now over here they show you how you can divide by 2. Both 2 and 4 are divisible by 2. So if I divide 2 by 2, I'd get 1. And if I divide 4 by 2, I'd get 2. So again, 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. 2/4 is equivalent to 4/8 and 6/12. I think you have enough information, and I'd like you to go ahead and try to find 2 equivalent fractions for 2, 3, 4, and 5, and bring them to class tomorrow. Remember, you can multiply by the same number, both the numerator and denominator, or divide by the same number to make it smaller if it's divisible by the same number. So bring this class tomorrow, and don't forget to bring a question. See you then.